All right, you guys ready to move on to our second pick in the third round at pick 98? So the Browns took defensive tackle Siaki Ika. Am I saying that right, Derek? You would know better than me.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's... Okay, Siaki Ika. He is... Oh, geez, what am I... 6'3". He played last year at like 358, but he clocked in at the combine at 335. So he shed quite a bit of weight.
And he wants to play lighter. That's what he said in his interview. And
I was reading about him that, you know, his mass... He's a big boy. Big... run, stuffing, block, eating defensive tackle. And if he can trim down a little bit more and build up a little bit of that muscle, work on a little bit of the agility, he's already got under the radar pass rushing ability. And if he can get after the quarterback along with stuffing the middle of that line, man, what a pick. What do you guys think?
A lot of people don't like this pick, and I don't understand why. So from what I heard that night on the way home as we were making that pick, I got like a half-hour drive from the studio. So they announced the pick. They were saying this isn't a guy that's going to really get to the quarterback a lot. This is a guy that's going to stop the run. It's going to plug up. It's going to eat some blocks. You know, for us, aren't we tired of watching just even okay running backs get 5 to 6 yards before we even get close to them? I mean, are we tired of that? Wasn't a need addressing the middle of the defensive line? Because to be honest, I don't think Perrion Winfrey, who knows what's going to happen there.
Right.
I'm not even sure Perrion Winfrey is a starter this year, even if he doesn't have legal problems.
We've got Myles Garrett. We've got Obo Okonkwo. We've got Alex Wright. We drafted, we'll talk about here in a minute, Isaiah McGuire. We've got guys who, Dalvin Thomas, who can get pressure on the quarterback. We've got pressure on the quarterback taken care of. We need to stop the damn run. That killed us last year. And as soon as I saw the main things about this kid were run defense, I was like, thank God we need that.
And people are bashing the pick, and I just don't get it. And this isn't even just a last year thing. This has been the last, every year we've had a podcast, this has been an issue.
And this pick right here, Derek, kind of, to me, shows why they didn't reach on any sort of linebacker position, because if the defensive line can stop the run effectively, then you've got guys like JOK and Walker and Phillips and Taki and these other guys that can, Tony Fields, that may not be like elite level linebackers per se, but they don't need to be. They can still do their job as long as they're, free to do so. What do you think about Ika?
So, yeah, I'm not super high on this pick. And I've come around a little bit. I've dived into him a little bit more. I think he does have some pass rush ability. It's more than what people are giving him credit for. My problem with this pick is I think you reached a little bit, and I think Andrew Berry kind of panicked a little bit with this pick. I'll be honest with you. I think defensive tackles were flying off the board. I think there were still some defensive tackles that I would have rather had than Siaki Ika. But the problem for me is I think what we were looking for is somebody to be that cornerstone number 2. I don't think he's it. I view him more as a rotational guy, and that's kind of my problem with it. He is strictly, I talked about it with Gervon Dexter when I dived into him. He's strictly a run defender. It's the same thing here, and that's kind of my problem with it. It's not that he's a bad player. It's not that Dexter's a bad player. It's just, for me personally, I like to have guys who have traits that I can build on. Now, I'm hoping I'm completely wrong on that, because they showed Jim Schwartz when they made the pick, and he was ecstatic. So obviously Jim Schwartz is smarter than me, but from what I saw, I think he's got a lot of potential. He's going to be a great run blocker, which obviously or run defender rather, is what we need. So that's absolutely filling a need. I just think they reached a little bit, and I do think he needs some work. If he can get fixed up, and Jim Schwartz is the guy to do that, he's got a track record, he could be really good. He just wasn't personally my favorite of the bunch, but I'm not too upset with it.
Since defensive tackle is such an important position to Jim Schwartz's defense and his scheme and everything, the fact that he was excited about this kid does give me, some relief, some hope. I feel good about that. I see what you're saying about reaching. The NFL analysis had him graded him at a 4th or 5th round grade. That's kind of what they were giving him. We took him in the 3rd. Going back to Tillman, we didn't mention this. They had a 2nd round grade on Tillman.
Yeah.
So to get him in the 3rd round, I mean, just kind of to show you where the NFL was at with these guys pre-draft to where they ended up. But, you know, his comparison, they comped him to Danny Shelton, who is a former Brown.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, this isn't the guy to come in and be the defensive tackle. He's not the guy, but, you know, if we can get some good rotational usage out of him in year 1 and see some growth and development, that would be, and just eat up a couple runs, please.
Yeah. Please stop. Can we get a little run stoppage? Just a little bit. Stop the bleeding.
So tired of bleeding all the time. All right. Anything else with Ika you guys want to mention before we move on?
Just be patient with him. For fans who don't like this pick, I think, you know, you mentioned it. This is, again, one of a couple picks for the Browns that is going to be a long-term plan here.
Yeah.
You just got to kind of wait it out.
That's one thing. I'm glad you said that. It reminded me. We talked about this last year when Browns drafted Perion Winfrey. I've read up on the different positions, translations from college to pro. Defensive tackle is actually a very difficult position for rookies to translate from college to the pro because offensive linemen in the NFL are so much stronger than what these guys go up against in college. And now they're smack dab right in the middle of that line, and it's tough. It is tough at the beginning for them. So I like your patience, you know, caution to all the fans out there. Give him half the season. Like, if we're not seeing big effectiveness out of Ika, do not start saying he's a bust, he was a wasted pick, bad pick, or anything. Give him half the season, because we saw Perion second half of the season last year start to come on a little bit, pop off the tape. So I would definitely be patient with this kid.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.